Apple just dropped Xcode 27. If you're a Swift developer, it means there's a bunch of new goodies for you. Now, if you're like me and you have a GitHub Copilot subscription, one of the really cool things that Apple did in this release is that they added full-blown agent client protocol support to Xcode. That means you can bring your own agent to Xcode and use whatever you want. Yes, Claude, OpenAI, and Gemini are built in, but what if you want to use OpenCode or GitHub Copilot, any other CLI agent out there? You can now do it. So let's check it out. Okay, here I am over in Xcode. This is Xcode 27. And the first thing that we want to do is just tap on this little button up here to go into a new conversation. Now, the first thing that you'll note down here is that it says new conversations with GPT-5, because by default, Apple has included some credits to use with OpenAI and GPT-5, or I guess in this case, yeah, GPT-5 all up. So you can customize this though. If you actually go into this little star up here, this will bring in your conversations. When you click this new button, it just gives you a new default or whatever you last used. You can go and say new conversation, and there are a bunch of agents built in. However, you can go into settings up top here. And when you go into settings, let me pull this over, you can go into intelligence and you'll see those agents, but you can also add an agent. And here specifically is going to tell you all about ACP agents. Now, if you don't know what an ACP agent is, it's okay. Over here, when you click that documentation link, it'll bring you over to agentclientprotocol.com. And basically, yeah, it's a standardized communication between code editors and coding agents. So local and remote scenarios. And luckily for all of us, the GitHub Copilot CLI has ACP server support built in, and it actually tells you exactly how to use it right here. So let's go ahead and set this up inside of Xcode. The first thing that we're going to do is give it a name. So I'm going to say GitHub Copilot. There we go. There we go. And then I'm going to go into my terminal and I'm going to say which Copilot. Now, if you're on Windows, you'll say where Copilot, and that's going to tell you where Copilot lives. So all you got to do is copy it here, and I've installed it here from Homebrew. So the first thing we're going to do is just simply tap in the absolute path. Make sure you get those slashes in there. There is absolutely no validation here at all. Let's go down and we're going to go into arguments and add one new argument, and that flag is --ACP. I'm going to go ahead and hit add. And that's really just it. There's just that custom ACP support. So now we can go ahead and exit out of it, and I'm going to go into new conversation. And now we see GitHub Copilot right there under all of our other agents. I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. And now we'll see that this says new conversation with GitHub Copilot. So this is super duper nice. So I'm going to say, what model are you using here? And now this is just going to prompt the agent. It's going to go communicate directly with the GitHub Copilot CLI through the agent client protocol, and it's going to go spin up the session. And I think I have here GPT-5.3 codex. Perfect. And there's our model ID. So I could say, give me a quick overview of the app. And now this is going to do exactly what we kind of would want it to do, is give it a quick overview using the same exact user interface that we had before. I could say, go and build the application. And this is going to use any built-in tools that the Xcode environment is going to allow us to use. But again, it's using the GitHub Copilot CLI. So here we have this build command. We're going to build our schemas and allow it to build for us automatically. And while that's building, I'm going to say, let's go ahead and plan out a new feature that tracks usage of clips and then pops up an upsell screen for the users after 50 screenshots. Now here I can also go ahead and send this. I can also attach content from the project or upload files, and I'm going to go ahead and send that up, and that's going to be pending and queued. So we can see that terminal build happening there, and it's going to then go do that. So perfect, it completed the build successful. I could look at the terminal output if I wanted to, and then look there. Well, great idea. So perfect. Again, it's now reading all my files, pulling this all in, and for all intents and purposes, it is now utilizing the harnesses here between Xcode and the GitHub Copilot CLI. to read the files, do a bunch of stuff, and read through other things as well. So here we're searching files, understanding things, and using it. Now I can also go and do new conversations. There we go. I can add a new one here. And now by default, new conversation with GitHub Copilot. And I can say, yeah, help me break up the files into smaller ones. Good one. We can go and spin that off just right there. So honestly, it's kind of just that easy to get started bringing the GitHub Copilot CLI directly in. Now, one thing that I'm sort of investigating a little bit more is how to use skills and different modes and even change the different models in this sort of ACP mode. Because when we go down here into the chat and I do a slash command, I can see that there is a plan, a rename, and an exit plan. But I'm not really seeing the rest of my skills or other MCP servers or things pop up. And additionally, there's not like a slash model there. And that's a little bit, cumbersome, I would say. Now, it does say here that there's a way to exit plan mode and apply changes. So I need to investigate a little bit more how this works. Now, what I have noticed is that you can go over into the GitHub Copilot CLI and you can just change the model. So here, if I say model and I say, let's say MAI code one flash and set the reasoning there, I can then come into a new conversation, spin that up, and I can say, what model are you using right now? And then in this instance, it will then start to use the MAI code one flash model. So this is really, really fascinating to be able to go in and understand the capabilities, but also maybe some of the limitations in this world. Now, again, you can always install the GitHub Copilot external application side by side and get access to all that stuff, but it is nice to at least have the side-by-side capabilities directly inside of Xcode. All right, there you go. It's actually just really that easy to get the GitHub Copilot CLI integrated directly into Xcode and use all of the goodies of that user interface. Now, of course, you can also install GitHub Copilot for Xcode, which is a standalone app that integrates deeply into Xcode. So you can use those side by side and use your GitHub Copilot subscription everywhere. I'll link to the documentation and everything like that below, but it's super duper cool. Let me know what you think if you're building Swift applications with Xcode, if you gave this a try. And as always, happy coding. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and do all those things. Until next time, thanks for watching.